Hello everyone, this is Kona and thank you for tuning in to another video. So today, let's talk about ultimates and ultimate abilities in shooters. I think in a cartoony shooter like TF2 and Overwatch, ultimates sort of makes sense, having these powerful special abilities. I think it's kind of a natural thing to do just because the aesthetics of the game allows you to get away with that kind of stuff. Now, ultimates can be a lot of fun because it gives the player a sense of power and they can make meaningful impacts into the game with relative ease. I'm not saying that it's free, but it's still pretty cool. And it does offer you sort of a comeback mechanic just in case you're not doing so well. Now, when you think of TF2, the first thing that comes to mind is probably not ultimate, it's more like Ubercharge or Uber. And that's really where I guess it started when the original game came out. That was the main, I guess you could say, ultimate in the game, but over the years they've been releasing a lot of different ultimates for not only different meta guns, but also the other classes as well. They're getting their own sort of meter-based ultimates, like you got the pyro with the flog, oh my gosh. You got all the backpacks for the soldier, I guess you could sort of call it ultimates. Things like the soda popper, where you sort of build up. Maybe the ones like Islander and the Bizarre Bargain where you still have to build up, although it's not really one where you build up and then use it. It just sort of gets better and better over time. And of course, like the Sniper's Hitman's Heatmaker and the Cleaner's Carbine. So there's a lot of these meter-based abilities in TF2, and that does offer a pretty nice dynamic into the game and also offers these classes something to work for during a match. So the first thing I want to talk about is earning your ultimates. Now in TF2, you earn your ultimates by basically being active in the game, by doing stuff, hitting people or healing people, and staying alive. And that's the key part there, is staying alive. In TF2, I feel deaths matter a lot more, especially for meter-based ultimate classes, because it resets on death. That's why you see a lot of people going for the medic, because if you can kill that medic and stop him from ever using his Uber, he might go an entire match without ever using it. You just basically prevented him from using his most powerful ability. And I know if you play medic or any meter-based ability class, that it can be a little frustrating at times when you die with your meter full and it's just like, oh, I really wanted to use it. And even though that is frustrating, I feel there can be a lot to learn, at least for me. There's a lot to think about when I die with a full Uber, because it makes me think, well, what could I have done differently? What went wrong there, and why did I die? Should I have used it? Wait, when should I have used it? Should I use it a long time ago, or what happened there? It makes me really think about my death, because it just meant a lot more, because I lost a lot because of it. Now, this doesn't really happen in Overwatch. In Overwatch, you can't really prevent anyone from getting their ultimate. It is inevitable. They will get it because you gain your ultimate in Overwatch through passive and active means. Now, one thing I'm trying to get used to is the fact that ultimates don't reset on death. That's very strange for me because, you spend all your time earning this ultimate, and when you die, well, you're just starting off where you ended up last time. There doesn't seem to be that negative consequence of dying. Maybe, at the end of the match there is, but really, if you die with your full ultimate, you can always respawn and try again. This is probably part of the fact that this is a very fast-paced game and they want you to constantly build ultimate and use it multiple times in a game. It'd be hard to imagine. Actually, I can't imagine this game if the ultis reset. People get so mad. But yeah, it's just something I have to sort of get used to. So next I want to talk about actually using the ultimates. Now in TF2, I like the ultimates in TF2 because you still have to work once you actually activate them. It doesn't give you kills, quote, for free. Maybe the flog does. but a lot of the other ones, you still sort of have to work for it. You have to do the aiming, you have to shoot like you normally would. You don't just get it for free. Now, in terms of coordination, I think a lot of the meter-based abilities in TF2 don't need too much coordination. You can almost use them independently of each other. You don't have to use multiple ones at the same time. But what you do have to coordinate is your actual team push. If you're going to go in there with an Uber, you better have some people behind you. Otherwise, maybe you'll get a sentry gun down or something like that, but they'll just build it right back up if you don't have anyone backing you up. So it's, it's more of a team pushing type of a thing. In Overwatch, on the other hand, it seems like ultimates are best used together, actually using a lot of ultimates at the same time. Now, there are some ultimates that you can use sort of solo if you can get some good positioning, like Genji, Reaper, Soldier 76, oh my gosh. But for the most part, I feel like, yeah, ultis, you sort of need to use them together and coordinate your timing. Now, something I don't like about Overwatch ultis are the ones that do a lot of killing, but they actually like do a lot of the killing for you. They take a lot of the shooting out of this shooter. For example, you know, the big ones I can think of are Reaper and Soldier 76. To me, it feels like those ultis are a bit cheap because all you do is you press one button, or in the case of Soldier, you just, you know, press one button and then you hold down one button, and it does a lot of the stuff for you. It's almost too easy to use that ability. Actually, sometimes I kind of feel bad when I use these abilities because it's like, well, what could they have done? You know, I didn't do much and I got all these kills. That's amazing, but did I really earn that? I don't know. It just feels a little weird. It kind of reminds me of the flog for the pyro, and the flog used to be really bad when it first came out, but at least now it's sort of okay. But still, when I use the flog with the pyro and I get a bunch of kills, I feel kind of bad because I was like, well, I didn't really do much. I just did a lot of damage really quickly. They couldn't really do anything. It just doesn't feel, at least for me, honorable that I did that, which is why I try to not use that weapon too much, or try not to use the cheap stuff too much. I really want to feel like I earned my kills. Even though I was able to earn my ultimate, I still want to feel like when I earn my ultimate, I want to earn my kills with that ultimate. So the last thing I want to talk about is countering these ultimates, and I really think this is where the fun part comes in. You know, using it is fine, but I think countering them or figuring out counters to them is even more fun. Now, this does take a while to figure out if you're new to the game. Like, I'm having a little trouble with Overwatch, but once you get used to it, boy, it just makes the game so much more enjoyable because it makes you feel like you outplayed the other person, you outsmarted them, you know how to counter their, quote, cheap stuff, right? Now, you can always just run away from these ultimates. That's sort of the default thing to do in both games, really. Just run away, just get out of there. If you see an uber charge, run away. Crits, run away. Diva's self-destruct, run away. But I think what's more fun is to figure out actual counters, actual abilities or things you can do to actually counter them close up. When I first discovered air blasting for the pyro, and I found out that, hey, you can actually air blast the ubers, that's basically all I want to do now when I play pyro, is that when I see an uber, I am there. I want to do, all I want to do is air blast them because it's a fun counter to do. If you see a crits, air blast the crits back. I think that's a lot of fun to do, and so I feel like there should be, these ultimates should have a counter. There should always be some kind of counter besides just running away, because it's the ones that you have to run away only, and that seems to be like the only option. I feel that's the cheap stuff. So those are some of my thoughts on ultimates in TF2 and Overwatch. These two games, they implement them very differently. The way that you earn them, the way that you use them, even the way that you counter them are very different. I actually prefer TF2 a little over Overwatch, because maybe it's just because, you know, I'm used to TF2 and, you know, that's why. But I think if I spend a little bit more time in Overwatch, I'll start to learn how that game actually works and figure out counters, because, you know, I'm a little tired of getting killed by Genjis and Reapers for like the 100th time. I think once I figure out those kinds of things, it'll make the game a little bit more enjoyable for me. So my question for you is, what do you think about ultimates in TF2 and Overwatch, and which one do you prefer? And, you know, maybe should TF2 maybe add more meter-based ability stuff, because we're seeing kind of a lot of that, right? So let me know in the comments below. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great day.